family. Welcome back to the Finance for Families podcast, the space where money meets legacy. I'm your host, Linda Makatiani, and together we'll spark the real conversations that empower your family to grow, thrive, and build lasting wealth for generations. Karibuni. If there's one thing that unites almost every parent in Kenya and possibly worldwide, me included, is the dread of that school fees text message. You get that notification and your heart sinks, and it's like a shadow that follows you everywhere until you manage to clear that fee. Yeah? Now, statistics show that school fees is a major source of financial worry for most Kenyans. A recent study by the World Bank found that over 54% of adults in sub-Saharan Africa are very worried about paying fees. And in Kenya, it's often the number one financial worry for parents, at par, but for me, I think even slightly above medical bills. It's a heavy burden. But today, I want us to create a roadmap in how we can be able to turn that panic into a plan. And how I want us to be able to do this is to create the school fee sinking fund. Now, the biggest mistake we normally make when it comes to fees is that waiting until the last minute. That school fee scramble is the result of not having a clear plan. The solution is us being able to create a school fees sinking fund. Think of it as a dedicated parent piggy bank, but for this expense, school fees. We know it's coming, so we start saving for it now. So here's how it works. One, we start by finding our number, which means we calculate the total amount we need for us to be able to pay that fee. Again, we have to think about, are we looking at paying school fees for the whole year, or is it just for the term? Whatever it is you're comfortable with. Most of us only think of school fees as what is on the fee invoice, the tuition. But we have to remember there's transport, there's uniform, there's books, there's stationery. We need to be able to get a total of all this to know how much do we need when it comes to school-related costs. So that becomes our number. And then we divide and conquer where we are thinking about, okay, fine, possibly I need 120,000 for me to settle for the whole year my child's school fee. How then do I break this down? So I could work with, let me save 10,000 a month so that by the end of the year I have 120,000 and I'm able to cater for the next year's school fees in full. Once you have this plan in place, next is to now just figure out, so where am I going to keep this money? When I'm saving this 10,000 every month, where is it going? This has to be a separate account from your main expense account and all that. You keep that money away so that it's gone. It's in that account before you're tempted to spend it. I know it sounds so simple, but that discipline is the antidote to last minute panic. So let's talk about, so where do we put this money? Because not all savings methods are created equal. We have a few options here in Kenya. Each has its own advantages and disadvantages. And I want us to look at each and just be able to understand how they operate, what the features, and what advantages and disadvantages come with them. The first one is to have what we call a junior bank account. So most major banks in Kenya, if you go to Cooperative, you'll find the Jumbo Junior account. If you go to KCB, you'll find the Cub account. ABSA, I think, have the Junior Eagle account. So these are special accounts for kids. This is money that you're saving for your child's school fees. You open, you can be able to save this money there. The advantage is, one, they're very accessible. Often they don't have any monthly fees. Some of them even offer free banker's check for paying school fees. And they are a good way of you getting to teach your kids about money, because when you open, the account is normally under their name. The disadvantage is the interest rates are usually very, very low, more often less than even 5%. So this means your money is not growing as much. It's losing value to inflation. So that's one, going to the bank and opening a junior account and saving now money in that account for your child's school fees. The second one is taking up an education insurance policy. These are long-term plans that you contribute to on a regular basis. Advantage of this is They come with a rider, a life cover. This is a very crucial benefit. If something were to happen to you, God forbid, then the policy would continue to pay the premiums and your child education will be secured. And you're also guaranteed that you will be getting this money together with some interest at the end of the term, and you're able to cater for your child's fees. These are good if you're maybe working with a duration of like 10 years, 15 years. And my child is just starting school. I want to be able to put money aside for their university. And then now you take up a policy that matures in 10 or 15 years. The disadvantage, they're not very flexible. If you want to use your money early, there are penalties that are attached to them. The returns as well, generally lower than some investment products, but they do, again, I have to say, they do help you develop that savings habit. Then we have money market funds. This is where you're blending saving and investing. You open a money market fund and it becomes specifically for putting money aside for fees. The advantage offer higher returns, of course, compared to the banks. The funds are usually managed by a professional fund manager, so they will pull this money and invest in secure assets like government bonds, and you're able to get returns, and these returns compound. So your money is also helping you to make some money for you to pay these fees. The disadvantage, the main one, is that the returns are not guaranteed, they're not fixed. They are dependent on the current market conditions. Those are three main ways you can be able to start saving for your child's school fees. Opening a bank junior account, taking up an education policy, or opening a money market fund for school fees. Now finally, I want us to talk about how do we include our children in this process. And this is not about burdening them with that financial stress of how their school fees is a lot, all these expenses that we have to cater for related to their education and all that. It's about how do we get to teach them one of life's most valuable lessons, planning for the future. One of the ways I as a parent have found very useful when it comes to involving my kids in this process is getting them to budget for their needs. Now, if they're able to do something out of the normal ordinary chores, you pay them a small amount of money. Now you help them to budget this money for their own school needs. They normally come and they want either a new pencil case that looks like this, they want this backpack that is designed or has this on it, these fancy pens and all that. All good. But can they be part of saving for this? So how you do it is part of this money goes into their school fees savings jar, and just before the beginning of the term, they would take this amount of money out and they would go and buy these specific things they want. So what that does is, one, it's teaching them to save for whatever it is they want. Secondly, it helps you to tick off one thing. It could be one stationery, from your budget, because they're able to buy it for themselves. You both win. They learn, you save. One thing I always insist when it comes to this whole process is always talking through the why. Get to involve your children, explain to them why you're saving. You're not just paying their school fees, you're investing into their future, into their dreams, in their potential. By you involving them in this whole discussion, age appropriate of course, you are raising a generation that's financially aware and responsible. The biggest and the best lesson, you're teaching them that big goals are achieved with small, consistent steps. That's it for this week. I hope this helps you to move from panic to a plan when you next have to pay school fees. Talking of planning, how many weeks to Christmas? Does anyone know? But before we start the countdown, how prepared are we for Christmas? Yeah, mapema ndio best. So I want us to start doing it early. So you definitely have to join me for the next episode, because we'll be talking on how do we save now for a debt-free holiday. If you enjoyed our conversation today, please share it with your family and your friends and everyone in your networks. You are also very welcome to engage with us and show your support, on our socials. We are at financeforfamilies.podcast on Instagram. You can listen to all previous seasons, all previous episodes on our website, www.financeforfamilies.com /podcast, or on your favorite podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Castbox. Like, subscribe, follow, comment. If you'd also like to connect with me personally, I am on Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn as Linda Makatiani. Let's keep talking. So again, thank you for keeping me company today. Until next time, stay resilient.